The neighborhood park was alive with laughter and conversation as families gathered under the warm weekend sun. Children played on swings, while parents set up picnic blankets and grilled food. Among them was the Santos family, who had closed their small family restaurant for the day to enjoy a rare afternoon together. Miguel and Ana prepared food while their teenage daughter, Leah, scrolled through her phone, keeping up with news and social media. They were relaxed, soaking in the peace that came from years of hard work and resilience in a foreign land they now called home. Officer Daniel Dan Hayes walked into the park, scanning the crowd with his usual air of authority. He had been patrolling the area for years, but his presence was often met with unease, especially among minority communities. Known for his harsh demeanor and lack of empathy, Hayes had made a habit of unnecessary interrogations, often targeting immigrants under the pretense of law enforcement. As he strolled past families, his gaze landed on the Santos family. Something about their comfortable gathering irked him. Without warning, he marched over, his hand resting on his belt as if anticipating trouble. "Afternoon," Hayes said, his voice edged with suspicion. "What's going on here?" Miguel looked up from the grill, surprised but polite. "Just having a family picnic, officer. Is there a problem?" Hayes' eyes narrowed. "You run that restaurant down on Main Street, don't you?" Miguel hesitated before nodding. "Yes, we do." Hayes smirked, as if he had uncovered a crime. "You got all your permits in order? No health violations I should know about?" Anna, standing beside her husband, tensed. "Our restaurant has passed every inspection. Why are you asking about it now?" Hayes shrugged. "Routine check, making sure everything's up to standard." Leah, sensing the officer's veiled hostility, stood up. "This is a public park, and we're just trying to enjoy our time like everyone else. Why are you harassing us?" Hayes turned to Leah, his expression hardening. "Watch your tone, young lady. You don't want to get involved in something you don't understand." Miguel stepped protectively in front of his daughter. "Officer, we are law-abiding citizens. If there's no legitimate reason for this questioning, we'd appreciate being left alone." Hayes' patience wore thin. "You people always have something to say, don't you?" His voice was louder now, drawing the attention of nearby parkgoers. "Maybe we should take this downtown, see if everything checks out." Anna gasped as Hayes suddenly reached for her arm, yanking her away from the table. "We have nothing to hide," she cried, struggling against his grip. Leah's heart pounded as she watched her mother being forcibly pulled away. "Stop it! You can't do this!" Nearby, Tommy Nguyen, a longtime friend of Leah and a tech-savvy teenager, had been recording the entire exchange on his smartphone. Hidden behind a tree, he zoomed in on Hayes' aggressive stance, capturing every word and action. He knew that this footage could make a difference. Hayes, unaware of the recording, turned back to Miguel. "Either you cooperate, or we're going to have a real problem here." Miguel clenched his fists, but kept his voice steady. "You're the one making this a problem, officer." More bystanders gathered, murmuring in concern. Some began recording on their phones as well. Hayes, sensing the shift, let go of Anna but didn't back down. "You're lucky I'm letting this slide," he muttered before stepping away, his face red with frustration. Tommy immediately ran over to Leah, whispering, "I got everything." That evening, Leah, Tommy, and local journalist Evelyn Brooks worked together to compile the footage. Within hours, the video was uploaded to social media, where it spread like wildfire. The hashtags Justice for Santos and End Police Abuse trended nationally. By morning, the video had reached Mayor Rebecca Lynn, who had built her political career on transparency and fairness. She issued an immediate statement. "The actions displayed by Officer Daniel Hayes in the viral footage are deeply troubling. An investigation is already underway, and our city will not tolerate any form of abuse or discrimination." As public outrage surged, protests erupted outside the police department, demanding accountability. Community leaders organized peaceful demonstrations, and activists called for Officer Hayes' immediate suspension. News outlets picked up the story, with Evelyn Brooks publishing an expose detailing the incident and Hayes' history of misconduct. Under immense pressure, the police department placed Hayes on administrative leave pending an investigation. When confronted with the undeniable video evidence, Hayes could no longer justify his actions. The police department ultimately announced his termination, citing violations of professional conduct and abuse of power. The Santos family, though shaken, found strength in the overwhelming support from their community. Neighbors stopped by their restaurant, offering words of encouragement and solidarity. Customers doubled in number, showing their support not just with kind words, but with business that sustained their livelihood. Leah, emboldened by the experience, took a more active role in community activism. She began speaking at local events, advocating for police reform and immigrant rights. "What happened to my family isn't new," she said during a town hall meeting. "But we have the power to make sure it doesn't happen again." Mayor Lynn, in response to the incident, pushed for comprehensive bias training within the police force and worked with community leaders to establish stronger oversight policies. New legislation was introduced to increase accountability and prevent further abuses of power. On a bright Sunday afternoon, the Santos family returned to the same park, this time surrounded by friends, supporters, and neighbors. As Miguel and Ana set up their picnic once more, Leah stood beside Tommy, who grinned as he held up his phone. "You started something big," he told her. Leah smiled. "No, we did." As the park filled with laughter and warmth once again, the family knew they were not alone. Their voices had been heard, their dignity restored, and their community strengthened. In the face of injustice, they had stood together and won.